So, how do we talk about the future? I mean, it seems simple enough, right? But it turns out one of the smallest words in English, will, is an absolute powerhouse of hidden meaning. And if you can unlock it, it can completely change how you communicate. Today, we're going to see exactly how.
Just take a second to think about that. When you talk about tomorrow or next week or maybe 10 years from now, what words just pop into your head? It feels totally automatic, I know, but there's a really fascinating logic at play right under the surface.
All right, so our future in words. The future itself is a simple idea. It's just everything that hasn't happened yet. But man, expressing it in English can be a surprisingly tricky bit of grammar. Don't you worry though, we're about to make it crystal clear.
Now, to guide us through this, we're turning to an absolute gold standard in English grammar, Michael Swan's Practical English Usage. So you know the information we're covering isn't just some random theory. It's solid, it's well-researched, and best of all, it's incredibly practical.
Okay, so it's really important to know there isn't just one future tense in English. Not really. We use present tenses, we use phrases like going to, all sorts of things. But for this explainer, we're going to zero in on the most common and maybe the most interesting tool we have, that little word will.
So let's talk about the prediction engine will. What is its primary job? Well, one of its biggest roles is to act as our own personal prediction engine. It's basically how we tell people what we believe is going to happen.
And here's the core idea, the main takeaway. When we use will to make a prediction, we're not necessarily looking at hard evidence in front of us. We're pulling from our own internal world, our thoughts, our guesses, our opinions.
And we do this all the time, right? Tomorrow will be warm is a simple prediction. Who do you think will win? Well, that's a guess based on what you know about the teams. Oh, and you'll notice that third example uses shall. You might still hear that from some British speakers instead of will, but it means the same thing here. Even a playful jab like, you'll never finish that book. That's a prediction, and it's based on an opinion.
So, the crucial point is this. Using will is a signal. It tells the listener that the prediction is coming from an internal source. It's what you believe, what you think, based on your own knowledge of the world. And honestly, that's the key that unlocks this whole puzzle.
Okay, belief versus evidence. That whole idea of an internal source becomes super clear when we compare will to its main rival for making predictions, the phrase going to.
I mean, what happens when you're not just guessing based on what's in your head? What if you have clear, external evidence staring you right in the face? Well, in that case, English uses a different tool.
See, notice the first part of this sentence. Look at the sky. The speaker is literally pointing to external evidence, those big dark clouds, and they're basing the prediction on what they can see. In this situation, saying it will rain would actually sound a little bit off because the evidence is right there for everyone to see.
So let's really break this down. On one side, you've got predictions that come from your mind, and on the other, predictions that come from what you can actually see.
And here it is, side by side. On the one hand, you've got be going to, which we use for predictions based on external evidence, things we can see or hear right now. See those clouds? It's going to rain. But on the other hand, you have will for predictions based on our internal state, our knowledge or beliefs. He's a terrible driver, he'll crash it. See, you don't see him crashing, but based on your knowledge of his driving, you believe it's a likely outcome. The choice of words signals why you're making the prediction in the first place.
And this is where it gets even more interesting. This core idea that will is all about expressing our internal state isn't just for predictions. It actually applies to a whole bunch of other common, everyday uses.
This is the real aha moment. I mean, once you realize that will is about expressing your inner world, your decisions, your intentions, your willingness, then all its other uses suddenly make perfect sense. It's not just about predicting the future, it's about declaring your role in it. Think about this classic example. This isn't a prediction, right? It's a spontaneous decision. You're expressing your willingness, your internal choice right at that moment. You're not saying, I am going to answer it, because that would kind of imply you had a plan. Nope, you're deciding right now, and I'll is the perfect word for that.
Or how about this one? This is a promise. And what's a promise? It's another expression of an internal state. This time, it's your intention. You're communicating a personal commitment.
And, well, on the flip side, we have a threat. But if you think about it, a threat is really just a negative promise. It communicates a strong internal determination to act, and it's another powerful way of expressing your personal will. So you can see the pattern here.
Will consistently shows up as our way of projecting our inner world onto the future, from instant decisions and promises to threats, offers, and even refusals. You know when you say, "the car won't start"? It's like you're describing the car's refusal to cooperate. It's all about intention and willingness.
So after unpacking all of that, what's the big takeaway? How does knowing any of this actually make a difference?
Well, it matters because language isn't just about being correct. It's about being precise. Choosing between "it will rain" and "it's going to rain" isn't some grammar test. It's a way of signaling the reason for your prediction. And that makes your communication richer, clearer, and, just more powerful.
And that's what's so cool about this. We can never be totally certain about the future, right? But we can be incredibly precise in how we talk about it. So the next time you make a prediction or a promise, just ask yourself, am I speaking from what I believe or from what I can see? The choice of a single word can really say it all.